Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the rumor mill again. I'm hearing a lot of things out there and I like to discuss that. There were 3 games yesterday I'll touch on, a whole slew of games today. You'll have to tune in and catch that. This is a great day to grab your honey, grab a beer, grab all that good stuff, sit on the couch, watch some hockey. And I want to talk about Vancouver specifically. So stick around. Okay, so let's just dive right into the rumor mill, okay? And then we'll touch on Vancouver and their situation, which is pretty grim right now. But rumor mill, okay? I love talking rumor mills. Now, I want everybody to understand, I don't put any stock into these rumors, okay? Trade rumors, anything like that is really just a rumor. It's talk around the NHL. It gets kind of built up, and then all of a sudden you start reading about it. So, look, I've seen some of it come to fruition, but most of it is just a rumor. It never really actually happens. But there are some trade rumors going around. One of the biggest ones is Jakob Chychrun in Arizona. Okay, he wants out of Arizona. Arizona wants a big price tag for him, right? And deservingly so. Okay, he deserves to get, or Arizona deserves to get a big price back for trading him to another team. I know that Jacob is kind of in control of who he will go to as well. He's not going to just go to anybody. He has made it very clear he wants to go to a contender. Now, that being said, that's just one of them. And I've touched on this in previous videos, but Boston is now a team that I've heard is interested in the Jakob Chychrun stakes, or sweepstakes, if you will. Potential, maybe, I mean, think about it. Hampus Lindholm, Jakob Chychrun line, or pairing, I should say, power play-wise, too. I mean, it's interesting. But, you got to remember, Boston's got some defensive injuries. Some major names that are not playing right now, and they're playing pretty well considering the fact. But I have a feeling that, and it does make sense too, that Boston would be interested. I'm sure there's a lot of teams interested, but it's all about that price tag. What are those teams willing to give up in order to go out and get a Jakob Chychrun? It's a big gamble. It really is. Yeah, so Boston's in the hunt. Toronto, I've talked about it. Toronto, I think, is a name that Jakob Chychrun would be involved with. Now, Toronto's biggest hurdle really would be salary cap, making room. So they'd have to give up some players and some money, move some money to make room for him. Now, Chychrun doesn't command a lot of money. I think it's $4.6 million that his contract per year, which isn't a lot, and that's pretty good. So I think they could pull that off, the Maple Leafs. The other thing you have to remember too, Toronto's Jake Muzzin, he's injured. Jordy Benn's also injured, but Jake Muzzin's injured. A lot of I know they've shopped him. I've read that they've shopped him, and a lot of teams are interested in Jake Muzzin. The only thing that's holding up other teams from saying sure is he's injured. And if he is to come back and play, how long will he play until he's injured again? Or is this going to be a lingering injury that could affect him and then end his career kind of type of thing? So Jake Muzzin's another name that's out there floating around a little bit. His whole issues are just the injury side of things. So I don't know about that. So here's some interesting stuff. Look, going into when the Ducks signed John Klingberg, for example, in the offseason, he was a highly touted free agent that I personally thought would end up staying in Dallas. I really did. I didn't see why the Dallas Stars would want to just give up on him, but maybe it was the price tag. He was commanding too much to them. So I look at a John Klingberg and I go, okay, great, he's now a Duck. Really, what is it behind that that signing from Pat Verbeek and John Klingberg that stands out as, why would he come to the Ducks? Well, I think it was nobody really wanted to offer him, or at least the certain teams he didn't like, that may have offered him a long-term deal. I think and you can read about this, and it's not like it's new news, but I'm pretty sure that the John Klingberg issue and eventually signing with the Ducks for just a 1-year deal, was to sign with a team that potentially he can put up points, build himself up, so that he can get that long-term contract with another team. Kind of showcase himself, if you will. I think the Ducks would be interested in keeping him around if he gelled and if things worked out in the Ducks' favor playoff-wise this year. That's probably not going to happen. So John Klingberg more than likely is going to be moved at the deadline, or before the deadline, to a contender that needs some offensive ability on the blue line, and to help them push them through the playoffs. At least that's what they hope, right? Whatever team that is. So that's what I think is going to happen to John Klingberg. I mean, I was really excited about that signing, but then it was just like, okay, wait a minute, this is just a temporary home until he goes somewhere else on a long-term deal somewhere. So I have a feeling he will get that. Now, in return, the Anaheim Ducks are going to get a lot. Okay, and that might have been what Verbeek's plan was the whole time. Look, I want to get some assets. I'm going to sign this guy. We got the cap space and the money. We're going to get some really good players in return for this guy come the end of next year. So, it's probably a smart move on Bert Verbeek's part. It really is. And so for Klingberg, though, in watching him this year, he's going to be trade bait at the deadline, right? Well, so far, not so good. I mean, I've watched John, and there's moments where I like what I see, and obviously in the past, when he was with the Stars, there's a lot to like. So far this year with the Ducks, and I think because he's new, and he's still getting used to our system and the defensive pairings and all that kind of stuff. There's always that learning curve that new players have to get used to. But I haven't been too impressed. The defensive side of his game is really lackluster. It really is. The offensive side I know has potential, have yet to really see it. So I hope that he doesn't tank this year, and the Ducks can actually move him at the deadline because he's shown that he can produce. But so far, I'm not a big John Klingberg fan so far. Now, I know what he's capable of, but I haven't seen it yet with the Ducks. So anyways, John Klingberg, who do you think he'll go to? Comment down below. John Klingberg. And the Jacob Chikrin sweepstakes. This is a good guy, a good young defenseman. I think he's 26. Who's he going to go to? Are there any teams out there, any fans watching? Do you want him on your team? Toronto, Boston, Ducks, LA, Tampa Bay, maybe. There's a lot of teams interested in him. So, anyways, that's kind of what's been roaming around on the rumor mill. Some other trade deadline bait names that I've kind of read about, and a lot of them are Ducks, actually. So, Klingberg, who we just talked about, Kulikov, who the Ducks got in a trade with Minnesota, and I think for that was just strictly for Minnesota to move some money off of their cap so they can make room for other players. So they moved Kulikov, traded him to the Ducks. He is in the last year of a contract, so I don't think Verbeek wants to keep Kulikov around unless he outperforms and surprises everybody. I haven't seen that yet. He's a stay-at-home type of defenseman. He's a good depth signing for the Ducks just to kind of feel him out and see what's going on, but he's another trade deadline type of guy. A team that needs some good, solid defensemen, experience on the blue line, might want a Kulikov on their team. He's not going to command a huge return for the Ducks if they decide to move him at the deadline, but they're going to get something for him. So Kulikov will probably get moved at the deadline. We'll see. The other name out there, Shattenkirk. He's going to probably get moved too, and that's mostly because we don't want to lose a guy like that of his caliber to free agency. So if we can move him to a contender that needs him or wants him, why not? Get something in return for him, right? So I have a feeling they're going to see a lot of that for the Ducks this offseason, and those three names are going to be your big ones: Klingberg, Kulikov, and Shattenkirk. Hey, let's dive into the Vancouver Canucks real quick. The Vancouver Canucks. Panic button, okay? What's going on in Vancouver, right? Who knows exactly? There's a lot of lack of focus. They just stopped skating. They stopped playing at some point. I mean, they've had multi-goal leads in 3 of the 5 games they've played in and blew them. The only 2 points they've got were in overtime. They ended up losing. They haven't got a win yet, people. This is the Vancouver Canucks. They played really well at the end of last year. When Bruce Boudreau took over, that team ramped it up and looked really good. They didn't make a ton of changes in the offseason, but here we are. What's going on in Vancouver? I have a feeling if there's any coach that's the highest right now on the hot seat of coaching, it's Bruce Boudreau. This is not the start that Vancouver fans wanted. It's not the start that any of us in the NHL world who watch hockey really, expected either. I didn't expect him to go blowing people out of the water, but they did pretty well last year when Bruce Boudreau took over, and that just hasn't happened yet this season. They look pretty bad, really. Defensively, I think they need to improve. The offense, I think, is there, even though it's like all of a sudden they just stopped playing. But I think it's the defense that really needs to pick it up. It's very similar to the Anaheim Ducks situation right now. Okay, the Anaheim Ducks look the exact same way. We know the offense is there. They can put the puck in the net. But the defense and the goaltending and the effort wasn't there in the game against the Islanders. That we're talking about Ducks right now. Islanders, New York Rangers, and the New Jersey Devils. Those 3 games. The 3 games they started their current road trip on. They looked absolutely dreadful. Okay, this is what the Vancouver Canucks are like right now. So they need to turn it around defensively. Thatcher Demko, who's going to be a star in this league, needs to crank it up. He needs to do better. But a lot of it lies on the people in front of him as well. The same thing you could say about the Anaheim Ducks, who had a great game in Boston when their defense got better. Okay, and I talked about that in the last video. Go check it out. But Anaheim did their job in the last game against Boston, and the results were there. One of the high-flying Boston Bruins were limited to 1 goal in regulation. Ended up going to a shootout. Huge difference, and that's kind of what Vancouver needs to do. So players are accountable too, but I think Bruce Boudreau is definitely on the hot seat. If this continues, now keep in mind, Vancouver, they've only got the 2 points. They're back home now, so that might help them. But they've got the Sabres today. They're playing Buffalo today. Buffalo's off to a great start. They're 3-1. They look really good. This is not going to just be some easy win if they get the win. It's going to be a tough game for Vancouver. This could potentially be another loss, right? So now they would go, 0-4? Depending on what the outcome is, but they could lose another game here. Then again, they have where is it? They've got Carolina on Monday. Dude, Carolina. Yeah, Carolina is one of the best teams in the East. My pick to go to the Cup. They can go 0-5 if they lose these 2 games. Then they've got the Seattle Kraken next week on Thursday. And, Seattle's one of those teams where it could go either way. The Seattle Kraken just beat the Colorado Avalanche 3-2. They look good. They're starting to play well again. They got a little strong start. They got a couple of bad games, a couple of stinkers, and now they've got a couple of good games under their belt. So Seattle looks good, and Vancouver, if they don't right the ship, these are all losses we're seeing, people, if Vancouver doesn't figure it out soon. Look, they've got to get better on the defensive side, and Demko's got to be better in that, right? Bruce Boudreau is going to find they're going to let him go. Vancouver's not going to put up with this, I think, for very much longer. I really don't. I read something where they wait at least 3 games, or not 3 games, but we'll say 20 games into the season until you start to see, okay, there's no improvement. We're still crap. Coach is gone. So who knows? Hey, Vancouver fans, you're in the Pacific Division, so part of me is glad that you're not doing well. I'm a Ducks fan, so of course, but I really hope things turn around for you because I know how passionate you guys are about your Canucks. Comment below. If you're from Vancouver, if you're from Canada, whatever, if you have any idea, I don't care where you're from, comment below. Let me know what you think. Bruce Boudreau gone? You guys getting worried? Let me know. So anyways, Vancouver, hopefully you guys are going to improve and turn this ship around, okay? Look, 3 games yesterday. 3 games. Lightning 3-2 over the Panthers. That went to overtime. So the Panthers lost another game. It went to overtime. They got a point, but Vasilevsky had 30, what was it, buddy? 36 saves on 38 shots. So Florida lit him up pretty good. Braden Point had 2 goals. He also had the game winner in overtime for the Lightning. Bobrovsky was in net for Florida, 29 saves on 32 shots. And then Tkachuk had a goal and assist. He also had a pretty wicked hit on Kucherov. Interesting. You should go watch that. Some highlights. That was pretty wicked. Detroit game and the Chicago Blackhawks. Those guys went at it. The Hawks won it in overtime. That is not what I expected. Detroit's been playing pretty well. Chicago's been one of those teams everybody's predicting to end down in the bottom 5. But they came back and won. I mean, I think at one point, Detroit was up 3-1. Going Detroit's way. Everything was going. But the Hawks came right back. It went to overtime, and Max Domi had the winner in overtime. The goalies in that one, let's see. For the Hawks, it was Mrazek and Stalock. They combined for 28 shots on goal, and they had 25 saves. Nedeljkovic. I'm horrible with names, especially these Eastern European names. It's horrible. He had 25 saves on 29 shots for Detroit. And then there was only 3. The third and final game, Seattle beat the Avalanche. Go figure. The Avalanche are kind of struggling. It's interesting, and there's another team I should probably talk about in another video, but the Avalanche are having issues. They're not really that Stanley Cup-looking contender team. They did recently lose Gabriel Landeskog to injury. So it's interesting to watch them right now. Frankie Francouz was in net for the Avs. He had 35 saves on 38 shots, so Seattle really peppered him, and that probably had a lot to do with why they ended up winning the game. I think they had 2 goals in the span of like 22 seconds at one point. And then Grubauer and Jones shared the net, 18 saves on 20 shots between those two. But yeah, go Seattle, right? I like the Kraken. They look good. If they play well and they're gelling, man, they're a hard team to beat, I think. Today's games, there's a whole bunch, guys. There's like 13 games. So I'm just going to run through them really fast. Here we go. Minnesota and Boston are going at it. San Jose Sharks and the New Jersey Devils are going at it. That's in Jersey. St. Louis and Edmonton. That's in Edmonton. Arizona and Ottawa are going at it today. Toronto and Winnipeg are going to go at it today. Dallas and Montreal. That'll be a good game. Dallas and Montreal are going at it. LA Kings and Washington Capitals are going to face off. The Islanders and the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to face off. Tampa Bay played last night, so that's a back-to-back for them. Pittsburgh and Columbus are going to go at it. Philadelphia and Nashville are going to face off. That'll be a good one. Let's see if Philly can get another win. Buffalo and Vancouver. Vancouver, you got to win one, man. Are you going to do it tonight? Let's see. Colorado and the Golden Knights. Now, the Golden Knights, or Colorado, played and lost to Seattle last night. Now they're in Vegas. Good God, man. I just talked about it. Colorado's off to kind of a shaky start. Vegas is off to a great start. And they're in Vegas at T-Mobile. So I have a feeling that Vegas is going to win this one. I really do. Colorado, not looking so hot so far. So Colorado is in Vegas, and then Carolina is in Calgary. That's going to be the game of the night right there. The Colorado-Vegas game, and then I think Carolina and Calgary. What a matchup that's going to be. 2 potential Stanley Cup final teams going at it, Calgary and Carolina. So get on the couch today, grab all the stuff, your beer, whatever it is you like. Watch some hockey, people. Today's a great time for it. Here where I'm at, the wind is blowing. There's a storm rolling in. Rain's supposed to come in tonight, and it's supposed to snow tonight and tomorrow morning. So here it is. It's not even November yet, and we're getting our first snow. So I'm super stoked. They're not expecting much where I'm at right here, but up on the mountain nearby here near me, they're expecting well over a foot. So I'm super excited about that. I love it when the season changes. But hey, listen, hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Go down, subscribe, okay? Get on there, subscribe to the channel. I need subscribers in a big way. It's super big for me. So do that. It helps me out a ton, okay? And then that'll allow you to see any content and videos I put up and check them out, okay? Comment below too. I like to hear your comments. I respond to them really quickly. So thanks for watching. See ya.